If you didn't join in last time, you don't have any previous paintings to work on top, you can just draw on a blank piece of paper that I have here. Any paper will do. It could be a recycled envelope or on the back of a birthday card, whatever works. And if you would like to add a little bit of color, we can also do color with color pencils on it. Okay, let's go. So lines, there's all sorts of different kinds of lines that we can practice today, and switch around between the tools and see what works best for you. By the way, if you want to go a little bit more professional, these are the professional pigment liners that I use in my work. I'm sure you can order these on Amazon, and what I like about these are that they come in different, let's see if I can show you this, in different thicknesses, and I definitely use the the 0.1 the most, but I wanted to just see what you can do with just a ballpoint pen. Okay, so lines, obviously we have the horizontal and the vertical lines, we have the diagonal lines, and then we have all sorts of kinds of curvy lines that we can use and combine. Now, if you put lines very far apart from each other, that gives you kind of a repetitive pattern. But what we're trying to go for is putting our lines really close together and kind of creating a pattern like I have created in here, and just repeating patterns and then starting a new section. So what I'm going to have you try to do, if you're following along, is take your pen out and just on an empty space on your paper, just try to do some diagonal lines really close together. And don't worry about getting this perfect, and some of them are kind of crossing each other, but this gives you what we call a visual texture. And breathe as you're doing this, and keep your shoulders relaxed. And what I do with my hand is essentially my pillow of my hand here is resting on the paper, and I'm just swinging my wrist and my fingers back and forth like this. So it shouldn't be like the death grip. You just go really lightly on it. Okay, then we can switch this up and try to do this in more of a curve. So try to do curves really close together, and mine tending to touch now over here, and then curve it some more and even more. Okay, and then also try it with kind of like okay, let's do this. Draw kind of an organic shape, and now we're going to fill this shape with lines. I'm going to start in the corner, and I'm going to do these hills. They always remind me a little bit like Dr. Seuss's work. Okay, now I'm going to turn, and I'm going to do a hill coming in from this angle, and then maybe one from this angle. And doing this is really calming for your body, for your mind. Okay, and then I'm going to go in this way. So kind of just change the angle of what you're doing. And yes, this is time consuming. So you will figure out, oh, a piece of art is not created just in 1 second, 2 seconds. Sometimes it takes hours, days even to finish it. Okay, so I just did this little tiny area. What do you think? Hit the like button or the love button, the heart heart button, sorry. So now this is just a couple of textures that we tried now on a blank piece of paper. Now, if you were here with me on the coffee painting days and you still have your value study, remember this is where we tried to get 3 different tones with our coffee painting. And so I would like you to work on top of that if you still have it. And here is one where some people would say, oh my gosh, this is ugly, this is not even. There is no such a thing. I actually am really intrigued by these beautiful overlaps that the coffee has created. And why this happened was because when I brushed with my brush, I stopped. I didn't do a continuous line with it. And then I probably added more of the darkest tone on top, and this is what happened. So I find this quite beautiful. And let's try to put some line work on top of these. And how can we work with these darks and light nuances? So look at this. So here I have done one with those circles that we were just practicing. And then I intentionally left some of the coffee blank right here. And then down here, I was doing some more of those lines diagonally. And then what I did down here was I did some cross hatching. Where's my camera? Wait. Oh my God, over here. The cross hatching, which you overlap. Here are some other kind of designs that I tried out. Over on this one, I tried a pattern with hearts. I mean, this is where your creativity comes in. This one really looks like hair or something. Okay, so let's just try one over here, and let's stick with those circle things, and I'm going to circle shapes, and I'm going to switch to a Sharpie pen. I suggest that you try out different things. So I am kind of thinking, I'm just going with the flow, and I'm going to start over here and just go slow, and then oops, I think my heart tells me I need to switch over this way, and maybe I can put a few small lines in this way and so forth. And again, breathe and enjoy the movements of your hands. And then organically, I'm just going to let this fizzle out, and maybe I will close this shape with a curvy line. I am going to keep some space here, and I'm going to just kind of follow along. Do you see how this makes this kind of a hill side? So sometimes when you see things in the paint that feels interesting to you, try to follow that. And now I'm going to just do this as a pattern and see how that feels. Again, keep your lines close together, and don't worry about mistakes. Really just go with the flow and see what that does for you. Okay, so I might just leave this alone because it's so gorgeous. And down here, I'm going to try again. In art, it's always good to repeat certain sections. So I want to repeat this pattern down here. And it feels like because this is also an oval shape, I'm going to just embellish that with, again, these hills. And again, feel free to turn your paper as you're working, so that encourages you to come in from a different angle. How's everybody doing? Hope you're following along. Hope you're enjoying this. Hit the heart button, hit the like button. And if you have any comments or questions, please keep them coming. My assistant Anna is happy to help you out in the background. So again, I think I'm going to repeat, oopsie, I have an oopsie. I'm just going to repeat that oopsie and put more lines like that. See what happens? Oh, they look like feathers now. Okay, so I am going to now repeat what I did on the other side here and following those nuances. And this is obviously different for everybody's drawing. Your drawing does not look like mine, okay? All right, on this one, try to do the cross hatching. And I'm again switching to a different pen because I want you to try out. I'm gonna go with the ballpoint pen again. Okay, what is cross hatching? Third graders, if you were in my class, you remember this. We did this with our color pencil drawings. So you're stroking in one direction, and then you're going to turn your page or paper and you stroke in the other direction. So this gives you kind of an overlay, and this gives you kind of a darker value. So you're shading in eventually, if we want to do that on our flowers. Okay, so let's go into our flowers and see what we can do there. So I am interested in this overlap here, and so I am going to do, I want to really bring out this petal. So we're not going for realistic flowers here. This is going to be more of an abstract way to do this. And just checking the time. Let's see, we're 18 minutes in. So what I want you to do, if you would like to receive one of my art cards created by Mrs. Libby, PM me your address, and the first person to PM me the address, I will send you a art card. So to fast forward, so this is what I did on my flowers. I kept going in with all of those line practices, and then I had a lot of fun putting in the lines around the flowers. So and remember the little speckles, the little sprinkles that we did, or oopses, we did it with the paintbrush like that. I embellished those and outlined some of those, and I added some of my own with the pen. Okay, so also you could use color pencils if you wanted to go in on your flowers and make them a little bit more realistic. Here is another one. Actually, just do it on this one. I have color pencils here, orange and green maybe for the stem. And to shade a little bit darker, I could go in with a red. So if we're looking at the poppy photograph to see what these petals look like, so when they're overlapping, they're creating this darker shape. And so you could, you could bring that out with doing the line work, but with a color pencil. So let's say this petal overlaps this petal. So I'm doing the line work here, and it feels like maybe this red is a little bit too dark, but then I can lighten it up with my orange color pencils. And it really helps if the color pencils are super sharp to do this line work with. So I'm going to do another line work shading over here. And it really looks beautiful, don't you think, on the brown paper? Sorry, I was off the camera right there. You could also do this along the stem with your